you on the program. You know, people rarely go to you know, those network television shows to relate to the hero of a program. That's just not how it was, because for the most part, certainly in previous generations, those heroes were kind of unrealistic versions of what a person could be. It wasn't until later on, you know, James Garner's role in his show, and also even Magnum P.I., where your hero started to be a little bit flawed, where they would punch a guy and they would get hurt, things like that. And that was always really in the more fun, flawed ways. But as television has evolved, some of the leading characters have become even more flawed and more realistic, things that perhaps you can even relate to. That is certainly the case in a new TV series about a cop that's dealing with multiple personalities. It's being performed by one of the great actors this country has ever had. He's incredible in independent film, and you've seen him in a bunch of shows. We'll run him down for you now. Callum Rennie's here. Here's his bio. All right, lots of actors have impact within their own craft, but how about having impact in somebody else's art? Callum Rennie has that distinction. Look, in 15 years, he's played a lot of characters, but one name stands out above all, and that's because the band Billy Talent named themselves after Billy Talent in Hardcore logo. Billy Talent is Callum Rennie.
Let's hear it for Mr. Billy Talent.
But he wasn't just in Hardcore logo. He, alongside Paul Gross, captivated a nation. He was the intense detective Stanley Kowalski in Due South. Also the film Memento. That's the one where Callum was a thug who antagonized the lead character.
What, I haven't made a strong enough impression on you?
I wouldn't be too hard on yourself.
Since then, Callum's racked up quite the resume and gained legions of fans. He was Battlestar Galactica. He was in David Duchovny's Californication, where he played an out-of-control record producer named Louis Ashby.
If you touch her, I'll cut your cheeks with a straight razor.
But now, Callum is back to Cops and Rock Stars. Billy Talent makes a return appearance in the new film Trigger, and he's got a new series called Shattered, where he plays a detective suffering from multiple personality disorder.
I hope he rots in hell.
Ladies and gentlemen, our friend, please welcome Callum Rennie. Thank you. All right, man. I'm good. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me on the show.
The last time I saw you was we shared a car at the Genie Awards in Ottawa.
That's right. Back to the hotel.
It was. I'll tell you, in this job, I spend time around a lot of people who have celebrity careers or whatever, and then sitting in the cab with him, I just looked over and I went, "Holy shit, it's Callum Rennie." It was a lot of fun. It was cool. But you seem to have a really interesting relationship with your own celebrity. How do you feel about it?
Sort of, it's not, I wouldn't say love-hate, it's just sort of, it comes with the territory. It's nice that you're recognized sometimes, other times it's a bit awkward. This is like one of my first times on a live tape or show. So I'm gonna like sputter and I'm gonna use it as a dress rehearsal and go, and cut! Whenever it starts to...
And the director's in the room, Jane's saying, "There's no cut, Callum. We're going."
So it's, you know, it's some of that, where there's things that you have to try to embrace, like coming on. I love this show. I love your show.
Oh, thank you,
This
man.
is fantastic.
We're honored to have you here. I wondered if, I mean, your formative years, you had, you know, like some people have easy upbringings. You didn't have an easy upbringing. And could you have ever foreseen a time where this would be your reality?
None. Like it's two lives. It's different. It's a different world. And coming from Edmonton and, you know, watching television, going, you know, the Hollywood's a long ways away. That's pretty far away. And I like, you know, I like TV. I like films. I just don't think I could do a talk show. I couldn't go on and talk on a thing as an actor. That was my biggest bugaboo, weirdly enough.
Well, you're doing great.
I mean, through this, the process of, like I went to high school with Bruce McCullough from Kids in the Hall.
In your yearbook, you said you mentioned Bruce M. Was that him?
Yeah.
Did you say you hated him?
Yeah, I may have. I may have. That was like one of those turning point relationships, because he was such a talent, and he didn't fit in anywhere. And so I was able, like I saw it in him. I saw how you're going to do some really interesting, great stuff. And we created this friendship, which led us going off to college, doing his first improv class with me together. And he really took to it, and I kind of went, I'm not really sure about that. And I think it'll come to me later. Like it felt like it was too ego-oriented for me to participate in at that time. And I went, didn't see myself in it at that point. It just slowly has, you know, developed through.
How old were you when you left Edmonton? You came to Toronto, and then when you left Toronto, why did you go to Vancouver? Why did you leave Toronto?
I was out here just sort of drifting around. I had done some theater in Edmonton, and it was fringe festival stuff. And in my mind, somehow, I decided I'm an actor. I'll be an actor, that's it. And I really had no follow-up. I had no idea what an agent was. I didn't know what a callback was. I didn't know what an audition was. But I came out to Toronto. And things kind of went weird, which became me ending up flying to Vancouver because I was going to drive back a van with pot in its tires.
Okay, that kind of weird.
Yeah, that kind of weird.
Okay, so
yeah.
Not like Big Bird costume Burning Man festival, but like harsh weird.
Yeah, harsh weird.
Okay.
No money. You're gonna do a hustle. You're gonna do illegal things, and luckily we were stopped early on before we were both arrested at the border. And is this good for television?
It's amazing.
Are you? Okay.
It's good for our show, right? Because what you do is interesting, but why you do what you do is, I think, the essence of a human being, right? And that's what I'm curious about. Because you could have made the move to LA at that point, but did you need a reset in your life? Is that why you moved?
No, because I really wasn't an actor at all. I was like scrambling until I was 33. I was in a fight in a bar in Vancouver. A piece of glass, a guy tried to punch me in the face, and a piece of glass went through my eyelid into my eyeball, and they were going to take my eye out. Heavy.
That's big news from a doctor.
The best thing that ever happened to me. I didn't see it at the time, I didn't get it at the time, but it was a time for me to change how I live my life, which was, okay, you like being an actor, why don't you really try that, sober, and take on that, and if it works out, then maybe you'll have a career and you try to hold on to it and don't let yourself get in the way. And
but
so,
the consistency with you, I've noticed over the years, is that you've always been raw and open. Like you, even if we made a joke with the Bruce McCullough yearbook thing, but also in your yearbook, you'd been very clear, make fun of the guy from the broken home. Like you laid a lot of your life, like any young boy would, you laid it out there.
right.
You know, so I mean, do you still carry some of that with you?
Well, it's a part of, you know, me, yeah, like it's there all the time. I mean, whether it's within work where it's a confidence game of, you may have the skills and the abilities to work, and your history sometimes comes up and bites you on the ass, and you're fighting to find the confidence again. You can do 100 shows and go, okay, how do I do this again? And you have to pull out your resume and go, I've done a bunch of shit. This is, yeah, I could do this. I can get this done.
Well, I mean, your career has been, you haven't had to live in LA full time. You're able to do what you booked. 2 really great series with David Duchovny you've been able to be a part of. The Ashby character is pretty fun. And you get to draw some old school versions of you for that guy?
Yeah, I mean, that was what was odd about it, because what other people going, you get to play the great, and it was bringing up all my, there's coke here, and there's booze, and women on this, you should be lapping it, and I was like, no. Yeah, no, that's cool. That is fake, right? That's not. Let me. Yeah. Okay. No, it was awkward. And that was such a great show. It was so well written, and the thing about working for some period of time is I think if you're open and you have great relationships with people, or try to, and I had worked with David like 13, 14 years before in the original series of X-Files, and then they came back to shoot the X-Files movie. And as we were shooting that together, they, you know, because they had me come and do this Russian character, you know, David was up for a Golden Globe, and I said, congratulations, and he said, have you seen the show? Of course not, I'm in Canada. Hasn't come up here yet. He goes, oh, well, let me get it for you. And that was, I was hooked. It was just like I watched all of them in a row, and went, I'm the biggest fan of this show, and Dave, I love this show. This is the greatest show. Callum, you want to do the show? What? No. What do you mean, do the show? I didn't watch it with that in mind. I just watched it as a person viewing the show. And he said, do 3 episodes. Okay, maybe we'll make it 5. Okay, 8. Actually, do them all. And it was so much fun, and it was a bit daunting because the writing was so pure. The environment was so pure to work within. And I had a great time. It's like one of those career opportunities that don't come around that often.
The culture makes cop shows all the time. Like, there's always a good cop show, and people are looking for one. CSI sort of turned it on a head a bit because the protagonist, the lead, was a bit flawed, but not a typical cop.
Right.
And in your character in this one, you're taking a flawed character to the next step. You have an officer who has multiple personality disorders. It affects his job. And when I watched the first episode, I remember sitting at home going, oh, but what? I can't believe you just did that. Like, your character you really take it down a different road. Is that when you read the script, did you think, okay, I'll do this kind of guy?
Well, because it offered so many opportunities, and I found the condition of it, that people actually suffered this condition, like, fascinating, because it had and it's a great place for work, and a great place to, in my mind, to expose a part of us as people where we all disassociate to a degree, you know, like we're more comfortable in one place than in another. And it was hard. It was, I mean, because it's the kind of role where you can never go, nailed that. Because you never do. You never go, you know, and maybe because of how the show was set up, my mother actually watched the first and second episode, but she said, I love all the different characters you became throughout. And I said, Mom, there's only one I became. But because of how she perceives the show, there was a bit of, are you there, are you not there? Like my own fractured self is being recognized by within
mom.
it. Yeah.
What's that moment like? Doesn't matter how old we get, they're still our mom.
Mom, I only switched once in it, okay? don't tell anybody else.
Shattered airs Wednesday on Global at 10 p.m. The great Callum, everybody.